Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, this is Coco929. Taking a break from watching other people today, enjoying the time I have off. So, anyway, I wanted to come on here and pick up where I left off. I think I had told you guys about my daughter with this particular cousin and her health issues and how she's productive now and she still has some elements, but not like it was when she was younger. So, well, then I was going to come back on and tell you all about how deep the Stockholm syndrome was with me. Um, so let me start by saying this. I want to first thank everyone who has listened to my videos, everyone who has subscribed to me, and everything. I really appreciate you. I don't take it lightly. I'm just glad to have an opportunity to share my stories with S's. To share my story with everyone, hoping that it would help you. If you have any daughters or sons, that you would pay attention to the signs. And then I'm going to move on, and it's going to be different things. But right now, I want to stay in the vein that I'm in regarding the molestation and incest and things like that. So let's get started. I don't want to prolong the time because I am expecting a call, actually. So, um, okay, so I told y'all that after a while, I fell in love with this particular guy who happens to be my first cousin. Um, his mom was my grandmother's oldest child. My dad was the second oldest, but he was the oldest boy. Like this particular cousin, this cousin is the oldest grandchild, and I'm second oldest, and everything. And I explained to you all the beginning of that. So let's move forward. So now I'm wrapped up in this guy. I'm wrapped up in him, and I make excuses now for him to be with me. So because now he has, not only does he have my body, but he has my heart, and more importantly, my mind. Okay, so I remember, like I said, this is going to just be different stories. It's not a timeline now. I'm just going to tell you different stories and things that happened with me and this guy. Um, I remember he had been talking to me, calling me on the phone, because at this time he had moved back out of town, but his reach was still on. He still called me. He still was dictating to me different things. So, I remember one time, yeah, I know that Oprah used to come on around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I think she switched to 4, if I'm not mistaken. But however, um, he called me and he was like, "Have you watched Oprah yet?" And for them in Illinois, it came on, I think, at noon or 1 or something. They were really earlier than where I'm from. And I said, "No, I haven't seen it." Why? He said, "Because I need you to watch it. It's about us." And I said, "What?" He said, "It's about us." And so he was like, "Well, hold on. Mama want to speak to you." Okay, y'all catch that, right? It's about us, but hold on, Mama want to speak to you. And so my aunt got on the phone. She said, "Have you seen Oprah?" I said, "No, that's what he just asked me." She said, "Well, when you see it, call me. I want to know what you think." And I was like, "What is it about?" She said, "I'm not going to tell you, but he said this is about y'all." So, okay, of course, I couldn't wait for Oprah to come on. So, 3 o'clock, I'm sitting in front of the TV, and I'm like, okay. So, I'm sitting there. Oprah says, "Today, first cousins marry each other." Next on Oprah. I'm like, and I got quiet. So, I watched the whole episode. So, I couldn't even call after it was over because he called me. And he said, "By now you should have seen it." I said, "Yeah, I saw it." I said, "Is that what you and your mama talking about?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I told you when I first saw you, I said you were my wife." And he did. And so he said, "I told my mother," he said, "See, if they can get married, they first cousins, and look at the episode, whole episode, why come I can't marry her like that?" So he's like, "Hold on, Mama want to speak to you again." So she got on the phone, and I'm just quiet. She said, "Did you see it?" I said, "Yeah, I saw it." She said, "He is really set on marrying you." And I keep telling him that cannot happen. She said, "But he's set on marrying you." Okay, I'm quiet because I don't know what to feel. Because part of me is like, no. Then the other part of me is like, okay. So, anyway, he got back on the phone. He said, "So, you mean to tell me if I ask you to marry me, you ain't gonna marry me?" I said, "Dude, even though we've been in each other's life for years now," I said, "we're still kin." He said, "Man, I don't want to hear all that." He said, "Because I just don't want to hear all that." I know. He said, "And that's what makes it even better because we know each other's family because we are family. We know." I mean, he had it broke down to a science. You hear me? A science. And so I was sitting there. I was like, okay. I said, "You really serious about this too?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I've been telling you that since when?" I said, "Oh, since I was 9." He said, "I actually told you when you was 8, but," and that's how he said it. He said, "I've been telling you." He said, "And now you grown, and I'm still telling you I want to marry you and that I love you." And I'm tripping. I'm like, why do I feel so attached to this man? And, because like I said, y'all, I was, at that time, my body would react to him, my mind would react to him. It was like a love affair. And even though that was my biological cousin, it was like a love affair. Anytime he would call me, my body would just react like, like, oh, and I pick up the phone, and I mean, we would talk for hours. So he said, well, he called me again. He called me back. We hung up from that conversation. So later on, he said, we coming in town this weekend. I said, for real? He said, yeah. He said, I need you to be over Granny's house. So he said, because I want to see you. And I was like, yeah, if I don't have to work. He said, I don't want to hear that. He said, I need to see you when I first come in town. So I need you to be over Granny's. And I was like, okay. I told y'all, it was just like, okay, you want me to search with you for you in the sun with a flashlight? Sure. You know. So anyway, I'm skipping to the day they got in town. They came, okay, it was me, one of my other cousins, and then this other particular cousin, she was she was adopted into the family because my grandmother adopted her mother and her other 6 siblings. So she became my cousin because my grandmother adopted her mother and her mother's siblings. Okay, so biologically, my male cousin and me are the oldest too, but because when the adoption went through, she became older than both of us. But she knew, like they was, around, and she knew. So she was over with me over my grandmother's house. It was one of my uncles, two of my aunties, me and this female cousin that's older than me. Um, Somebody else was there, and my grandmother was in the kitchen cooking fish. Okay, and they was like, "Uh-oh, they pulling up," and she looked at me. And she said, "You can't even wipe that smile off your face." I said, "What?" She said, "You are smiling." I said, "Emma." She said, "Mm-hmm." I said, "Okay, let me take this smile off my face." She said, "Too late." She said, "Your grandmother already saw you." I said, "Well, it's your grandmother too now," like that. So anyway, y'all, he was, no, my auntie was the first one through the door. She said, "Where is my girl?" Talking about me because everybody said me and my auntie, that I should have been her daughter because I'm so much like her. And it's really true. Me and her could be like for real. And so I said, "Here I am," like that. And she hugged me and all this and stuff. And then, okay, he steps through the door and he shakes everybody's hand. They hug him and stuff. And he comes straight over to me and just throws his arm around me and just holding me and hugging me and hugging me. The whole time he's holding me and hugging me, he's telling me in my ear, "Man, I missed you. I love you so much." Like this. Mind you, he's still older than me. Okay? But this is normal. Okay? That's why I'm telling y'all. Everybody, then everybody look like, oh, okay, that's them. And everybody's still talking, we out, it's normal. Next thing I noticed was this female that walks in the door behind his brother. And my auntie said, and I quote, "Have y'all met his wife?" I'm going to let y'all marinate on that a minute. So my female cousin looks at me. I look at her, and I push back from him. I said, "Whose wife?" And he dropped his head. And my aunties and uncles, them that was there, and some more people showed up. They was like, "I heard you got married. This is your wife?" Now everybody's looking at me. I wish I was lying. I wish I could make this up. This is the truth. Everybody turns and they look at me and want to know how I'm going to take the fact that not only is he married now, but his wife is standing in my grandmother's living room, less than 5 feet from me. He's standing with me still, with his arms around me, like really both arms around me. He's facing me, hugging me, and I'm looking at him. I done pushed him back like, yo, who? My cousin's like, uh-oh. Like, it's like it all played in slow motion. Okay. So they said, "What's your name?" And so she said her name and everything. And they said, "Have you met Coco?" Said, "This is Coco. This is his cousin." Now, did I tell y'all? He still got his arms around me. I got my hand on his chest, pushing him, like trying to keep him from really hugging me. He keeps saying, "Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Let me explain." And she walks over to me. It's crazy. So I'm like, hold up. So now, like I told y'all, I am not one to play with. For real. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Yo, who? Like that. And she said, "I'm his wife." I said, how? And when I got ready to say, how in the. My cousin said, uh-oh. My grandmother turned around and said, uh-uh. No. Coco, no. I'm not going to have that. No. I went off. I clocked because in my mind, y'all, I thought back to the very first time this boy came after me and he started trying to get me. And then when he finally, you know, touched me and all this and stuff, how nobody stood up for me and how I ended up falling in love with him. And you talking about marrying me, but then you show up. You forget to tell me on the phone that you're married and you just talk to me. And then you show up, not by yourself, talking about you want to see me and all this and stuff, but you show up with a wife. A wife that you conveniently forgot to tell me about. Okay? Why asking me to marry you? Even your man, excuse me, even your mama didn't mention her. Okay? But y'all come to my city, in Granny's house, and expose a whole wife. No, I have a problem with you, and I'm going to tear this mother up. And that's, I'm telling y'all, my temper was so bad. I thank God every day that he changed my life. I'm telling you, my temper was horrible. Horrible. I couldn't stand me because I was a hothead. Anywho, I go in the room to get my stuff. After I go is off. And his wife is standing there looking. She's looking at him and she's looking at me because she see how I'm reacting. And she's looking at him and he's trying to hold me and calm me down. I goes in the room to get my stuff. He's following right behind me. He slams the bedroom door shut. And it was an old-fashioned bedroom door where you shut it and turn the key in there, and if you take the key out, you can't get in that door. Okay, they actually have to break the door down from outside unless they have the matching key. He turns the key, he puts it in his pocket. I turns around and see that he got the key out and he has it in his pocket. And he's like, you need to talk to me. I'm like, I don't need to say nothing to you. Let me out of here. I think that's why I'm so claustrophobic now, is because of the episodes with him. And so I'm working on that. I'm very much working on that because that's one last hurdle that I have to get over. But anyway, I'm in there and I'm screaming, let me out of here. Let me out. Every time I try to walk past him, he grabs me. He pushes me back. Let me talk to you. Let me explain. Let me explain to you what's going on. I don't care about her. I don't give a F about her. Let me explain. Now, all this is being said really loud. The outside has gotten very, very quiet so they can hear what's going on between me and him. Okay? So I'm still like, I don't want to hear nothing. I said, you ruined my life. That's how I felt at the time. I know now it's different. But I was like, you ruined my life, man, for real. I said, your effing family? I said, I'm calling them your family. Because they didn't support me. They didn't protect me. You know, like it and everything. So I'm going, I said, then you got the nerve to come here. Dude, you got the nerve to come here with a wife. I was crying. Oh my gosh. Y'all, it was horrible. And the more I cried, the angrier I got. And when I get like that, I become like anything I have in my hand, knife, gun, whatever, I use it. That's just, yeah. So I'm like, so now because he done grabbed me. And I'm 5'2". Okay, and at the time I was 5'2", 125. But I had all butt, all hips, all boobs, no stomach. And my eyes changed colors. Get into it, okay? So, I'm like, get off of me, and all this and stuff. So he's still holding me. No, because if I let you go, you're going to leave me. No, no, no. If you need me to, I promise you, Coco, I'll go out here and I'll tell her it's over now. No, no, I can't let you. And I'm crying. I mean, y'all, I'm sobbing. I'm like, I can't believe you did me like this. I just can't believe you did me like this. I can't believe you did me like this. And I'm just crying. Like I tell you, it was dysfunction at its best. I would never say it wasn't. But this is my story. And if I'm going to tell it, I have to tell everything. I told you, I'm going to tell the truth even if I don't look good in the story. Okay? So I'm crying. I'm trying to get him off of me. And he's just burr hugging me. He's bigger than me. He's taller than me. I told y'all he was a bodybuilder. Okay? He's bigger than me. He's taller than me. His eyes change colors. Hello, we got the same blood. Okay? So mine's change when I'm excited, like really excited, or I'm pissed. My eyes change colors. His change on random. I don't know what type of cat that is, but hey. So my daddy's does it. My uncle. It's weird. Okay. So he's like, well, he's like, let me just huff, he's like, I'm like, no, you don't have nothing to say to me. The whole time you've been talking to me on the phone, you forgot to tell me that you went to the courthouse and got married. And I'm saying this out loud though. It ain't, I'm saying it calm down because, but I said it out loud. I was screaming and everything. And I was like, y'all, please get me out of this room. I said, help me. Like that. And I'm just screaming, okay? Finally, a couple of my cousins and one of my uncles that I love so much. Oh, I love that uncle. He started beating on the door. He's like, if you don't get out for her, I'm going to shoot through this door. He said, and I mean that. He said, I'm going to handle you when you get out. He said, if you don't let her out, and he started hollering, get the F away from the door. I got this. Get away from the door. I'm not playing. He was going off. He had gotten pissed because I would not stay still. I kept on trying to leave. I kept on scratching them. He had scratched. When they did finally get us out, I'm going to go here first and I'm going to go back. They finally did get us out. He had scratches across his face. He had a bruise up under his eye because I was tired. I felt like, no, you owe me more respect than that. Because I felt like for this family, I was the sacrificial lamb, you know. And I felt like he owed me more than that. You owe me more than that. You mean to tell me you couldn't? You owe me, and that's I started saying you owe me more than what you giving me. You owe me. You took my innocence, and then you expect me to just. You owe me more than this, and yeah, I was cool. I mean, everything came out crying. I got to a point I started going. That's how I was crying, and then I have asthma. The room was hot. So I started almost going into an asthma attack because he kept holding me so tight. And finally, I was like, that's all right. When I get out of here, I ain't going to ever speak to you again. I told him, go to hell. I mean, it was all that. So finally, I thought he was going to let me up. And I was like, you can have her and all this. And don't call me. Don't something and all this. And it was crazy. Next thing I know, he grabs me up by my throat. I told y'all, 125, 5'2". He's a big old body. He grabs me by my throat and throws me on the bed. Now he's on top of me on the bed, and everything. And so I'm fighting. I'm windmilling. He done pinned my arms down. He's straddled me. He's like, you gonna listen to me one way or the other. He said if I have to kill you, I have to kill myself. He said, I'm telling you. He said, you're not getting out of here till you listen to me, or we both can die. It don't matter to me. I mean, just crazy. Oh my goodness, crazy. So my grandmother got to hollering. Like I said, I changed his name to Junebug. So, Junebug, let her at her, boy. I'ma call the cops. Let her at her. And I tell you, all this was at the span of them just getting here. Remember I told you they just arrived and all this went on. This was the first day, the first 30 minutes. Okay? All this was going on. And he was like, I got this, Granny. I got this. And his mother was like, you don't talk to my mama like that. He's like, Mama, I got this. It's your fault that she ain't talking to me. It's your fault that she don't want to hear me. How is it my fault? Now, this is between the door. How stupid is that, okay? And my uncle's like, okay, somebody go get my gun. I said, he's scared to shoot through the door. And I got calm because I knew as long as I was feisty or whatever, he was going to keep trying to choke me until he choked me out or until I listened to him. So I got calm. And I was like, you choking me. And when he looked at me, and he moved his hand, he said, and he laid his head on me. He was like, I'm not trying to hurt you. Just listen to me. Please don't leave me. Don't leave me, man. For real, just listen. He said, I had to marry her. She had no place to go. I asked Mama could she move in because she was on the street. Something happened with her family. She's a friend of mine. And Mama said the only way that she could move in there is if I married her. So we went to the house. We went to the house just the piece, whatever. And I married her. That's it. That's it. And I was like, you still couldn't tell me that before you hit the town with her? He just got quiet and he's like, man, I didn't want it to go this way. I love you. I love you. I love you. That's all he kept on saying. I love you. I was like, man, get off of me. I listened to you and then get off of me. Get off of me. And he still didn't want to get off of me. So then they was like, move away from the door, Coco. Move away from the door. He's like, yeah, because I'm going to shoot this thing off the hinges. I mean, it was crazy. So he's like, you ain't gotta do that. I'm gonna let her go. I'm gonna let her go. So now he's crying. I mean, like crying. He already had tears like come out his eyes, but I mean now he's like he's crying, and everything. Like you don't really walk out my life this time, aren't you? I really messed up this time, didn't I? I wouldn't even say nothing. I just straightened up my clothes, got my stuff that I had over there, and I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go. So I'm coming out the room. He's still trying to hold me. I'm like, please get off me. Please. So everybody in the household is quiet and they looking at us. I'm like, please get off me. Can y'all get him off me? I said, I said, get your husband. Like, and she looked at me. I said, honey, get your husband. Like, she better not say nothing to me. So then my auntie, which is his mother, gonna say, you wrong. Who? You. You ain't talking to me. Yeah, I'm talking to you. It's how it's going. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Now, you can't be talking to me and you ain't told your son he's wrong. So, okay, everybody's real quiet. I can see both of us. Like I said, they said I should have been a daughter because I'm a miniature her. She stand 10 toes down, so do I. It's like the old versus the young. And she's like, girl, you don't want to tangle with me. No, you don't want to tangle with me. Ain't nobody scared of you. Okay. So then he's like, Mama, no, no, Mama, no. She's upset. She's upset. I can calm her down. She's upset. Just, Mama, no, go on, stop all that. So I was like, whenever you feel froggy, like that. And so I'm walking out the door. So my younger cousin is like, cuz you okay? And they trying to calm me down. She's like, I'm not sure if she's okay or not. What she said, this is his wife. She's not. And I turned around and looked at her. I said, oh, but it's okay that he screws me, right? Everybody got quiet. I said, y'all act like y'all didn't know what was going on. Y'all been knowing this boy been messing with me. I told Ollie, I said, matter of fact, you don't even call me. You the one told me at first he was in love with me. You the one told me. Oh, I told everything. I just got to just speaking a whole bunch of stuff. She said, if you don't get away from her, I'm going to shoot you. I said, and guess what? When they made one gun itch, they didn't make, I said, when they made one gun itch, they just didn't make that one. I said, I ain't scared of you. I'll go get me one and I'll come back and shoot this mother ucker up with you in it. How about that? So then my uncles them and my grandmother was like, no, no, go ahead and leave. Go ahead and leave. Don't come back here. Go on. Let's diffuse the situation. My auntie said, did y'all just hear she was going to shoot the house up? So he's trying to get out of the porch. He's trying to get off the porch to come down. He's like, I can move. I got this. She's just pissed. She got a right to be mad. I'm wrong. Let me talk to her. His mother said, if you move off this porch, I'm going to put a bullet in you. He's like, then you just gonna have to shoot me. So then my uncles is grabbing him. My cousins is pulling me down the street to get me and her, two dogs that don't back down. They trying to pull me and her apart because it was gonna go down like good gas went up. Because like I told her, I ain't scared of you. Just because you got a gun don't make me not go get one. And if you hit me, if you shoot, you better aim to kill. Because if I come back, I'm going to shoot this mother ucker up and everybody in here. And I'm not playing. Play with me. It was crazy. And my grandmother kept hollering, y'all know that girl's crazy. Y'all know she's crazy. I don't know why y'all messing with her. Get in her. You crazy and she's crazy. She should have been your daughter. Y'all know if she says she gonna shoot this house up, that's what she mean. That's exactly what she mean. Leave that girl alone. Let her cool off. And he's still trying to move. Get off me, man. Get off me. I can calm her down. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, y'all. So that's just one episode that happened. I was like, I was a whole different person. I had lost myself. I was hurt. I was crying. I was, I don't know. I don't know. But I just felt like, how could you? I just felt like, how could you? Because mind y'all, this stuff started the last part of me being 8, early part of me being 9. And that's how early this stuff started um, with him and I. And now, how was I when this particular thing occurred? I want to say I was over, I know I was over 18 because I was grown. I want to say I had just either turned 18 or going on 19 because I got emancipated through the courts when I was 17 years old. Um, yeah, so I've been on my own. I actually been on my own since I was 16, going on 17. But I got emancipated at 17. So it was a year, almost a year after that. So I had just turned 18. I was about to. And when this popped off. And it was crazy. It's crazy. And so That was one episode that him and I had, and so let me get to this because I was on the report about cousins marrying each other and how he had called me and all this and stuff. So of course they didn't stay married. Him and his newly wife, they didn't stay married. Um, yes, he divorced her because of me. I can hear some of y'all questions. Yes. Um, so I told you all that he had moved back to my city. He came back for me, looking for me. So when he came back, he got to stand with my auntie for a while. We bumped into each other because I had to go down there for something, and I was trying to go when he wasn't there. Didn't work out because they said he wasn't there. By the time I got down there to my auntie's house, there he was. And so one thing led to another. We started again. So let me see. It was so we had been dealing with each other in every way. Uh, and at the same time, I had fiance. Okay, and yes, he came before my fiance. Yes, I'm answering that question now. So he didn't like the fact that I had a fiance, but the fact that anytime he called, I talked to him. Anytime he wanted to come over, my fiance had to leave. So, he still had his spot in my life. So he said, now, mind you, after a while, he got a girlfriend. He started staying with his girlfriend. But he wasn't happy. So he called me and he was like, look, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I have now waited for you all this long for us not to be a couple. He said, I'm tired. I want everybody to know we together. I want everybody to know that you're mine. I want us to get married. I want us to move. He said, because I know we won't be able to stay in this city because everybody knows you. They know me. They know we can. I want us to have a fresh start. And so he just kept on. I mean, this whole conversation, he just kept on. And he was like, so what you gonna do? He said, so I'm asking you again, will you marry me? He said, all this and stuff. So I finally said, you know what? If I'm gonna keep dealing with you, because for some reason now I can't stop. I didn't, like, again, y'all, I didn't know it was Stockholm. I didn't know. I said, but for some reason I can't stop. And so because I can't stop, I might as well. I said, yeah, I'll marry you. So he's like, all right, man, yes. He said, so you gonna come and get me? He said, because I'm packing my stuff now. Since you said yes, I'm packing my stuff now. I said, yeah, I'll come and get you. Like, yeah. He said, okay. He said, we're going to tell the family, right? I said, yeah, we'll tell the family. I said, which they probably already know. I said, they know that we, are together in that sense. He said, yeah, but they don't know that we're going to go get married. I said, yeah, true. So I said, okay. I said, call me when you're ready. He said, okay. So I was around the house. I didn't do any, I don't know. That day was just odd. I couldn't believe that I agreed to marry my cousin. And so I was like, okay. This is not going to go over well with my mom's side of the family at all. Because I told you, they're very religious on this side. And, now don't get me wrong, I got gangsters on that side too. But for the most part, our foundation is Christianity. And they really live what they preach. So, anyway, I'm thinking, how am I going to do that? How am I going to tell her, blah, blah, blah. So I went to sleep. Now, mind you, at that time also, so yeah, I was over 18 because I was in medical school. And so I went to sleep. And I didn't know I went to sleep. That's what was so funny. And so I woke up, I was like, I don't went to sleep. I said, Dad, he ain't called. So I was getting dressed for school because I was almost late, like dropping kids off at daycare, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dang. So the radio was on, and I heard his name, I thought. And I was like, I ain't hear that. So went on, got dressed, dropped the kids off, head to school. I had about 5 minutes to spare, because in medical school, if you don't get in before your professor closed the door, you can't go, so you miss that day, okay? So I went on and I was like, whoa. They said, girl, we was wondering if you was going to make it, Coco. I said, I was wondering if I was going to make it like that. And anyway, I said, girl, what happened out your way last night? I said, I woke up this morning talking to one of my besties. I said, I woke up this morning and I heard your apartment complex that it was a murder out there. And she said, yeah. She said, it shocked us. Because, see, in our city at the time, we didn't, to hear somebody was killed or murdered, that we didn't have that. I mean, everywhere else was having murders and stuff, but we didn't have that. So that was like out of the norm. Like, what? Somebody got killed? What? Really? Like we couldn't believe it. So anyway, make a long story short, she said, yeah. She said, girl, it was crazy. And I said, let me ask you a question. Do you know who it was? And she said the last name. And instantly my eyes got big and I sat up real tall in my seat. She said, what's wrong? I said, can't be. Can't be. She said, what's wrong? I dropped my books and took off running down the hall. Ran down the hall to one of the free phones that we had at the school. And I started calling my auntie and the auntie that lived up the street from me. And I said, Auntie. She said, yes. She said, yes, baby. It was him. I said, no. Like that, and just collapsed. And my auntie, so my friends, and they telling me what happened after I collapsed. So that's what I'm telling y'all. My friend got on the phone and said, hello. And my auntie said, what happened? And they told her what happened. And she said, oh my goodness. She said, I was confirming this. Yes, if y'all can't get her to calm down, call an ambulance so they can take her to the hospital like that. And so my friend them got the information about the situation. And so my auntie, one of the things my auntie said was she was waiting for me to call because she knew I was going to call. And he had told her if I called to tell me. So I'm going to tell y'all what happened. What happened was while I was waiting on him to call me to come and get him so we could start our so-called life together, he was packing up his stuff, told his girlfriend he was leaving. She was of the other color. But he told her he was leaving. Wasn't nothing she did. He just didn't feel her like he should. And everything. And of course, it came up about me because everybody knew about me. All his girlfriends. I come to find out that even his wife knew about me. And that's why when he said, she better not say nothing because she knew about me. But she let on that she didn't know. So, anyway, a friend, I think the girl set him up. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the girl set him up. A friend of the girl came over and they had a back and forth. Then they decided, the friend was like, well, go, man, let's just bury the hatchet. Let's just bury the hatchet. It is, what it is in a sense, okay? And said, let's go get something to drink. So him and the guy leaves to walk to the store. You hear me? One thing I did not mention about this particular cousin, just like myself, we are all specially trained in some form of self-defense, okay? Some form of martial arts and some form of a degree of martial arts. So with him and this guy was going to the store, you know how it is when you start drinking, your sober thoughts come out. And him and this guy get into it about the situation and everything. And so the guy wanted to fight. So he swung on my cousin. And witnesses said that because my cousin knew he could hurt him, he took 5 licks from this guy before he even swung one time. And the guy pulled a butcher knife out. So it was a setup, okay? I hope y'all getting all this. The guy pulled a butcher knife out. When he pulled a butcher knife out, he tried to stab my cousin. It didn't work. My cousin did a maneuver, and the butcher knife went into the guy and killed him. So it's always policemen that was patrolling this particular apartment complex. So my cousin went with the knife and blood on him to find the police. He saw where they were sitting, and he had his hands up with the knife on him. He had blood on him. The police said, "Freeze!" What? He said, uh, "Me and this person was fighting, and I think he's dead." Like that. So, uh, yeah, I'm gonna get this cat. Anyway, I'm sorry. He said, and I think he's dead. So the police said, "Show us where the body is." So they put him in the back of the car, and he told them where to turn to see the body. They got him out of the car. They took his statement on what happened and all this and stuff, and he told them what happened. And they took pictures of his face, cause remind you, the guy hit him 5 times before he even retaliated once because he knew he could hurt him. And just this maneuver that he did was unfortunate for the other guy and him, because the maneuver he did, the knife went into the guy, killed him instantly. And so they locked him up for murder and everything. So that's how that happened. That's why I fell asleep and he hadn't called, because he was going through all that and got locked up for murder. And so he told his court-appointed attorney that somebody's going to be coming up, because he knew me. He knew me. So he said somebody will be coming up here, because when they arraigned me, he said, "I don't know what she'll have on." He said, "But if she said Coco, then that's who's for me. And I'm going to describe her." So I showed up for the arraignment. I left school. I showed up for the arraignment. And it was a circus. It was a circus. Newscasters, everything. It was a circus. And the attorney came out of the courtroom because they hadn't called his case yet. And the attorney said, "Coco, is Coco here? Is Coco here?" I said, "Here I am." And I'm looking at him real funny. He said you would be here, like that. He said, he said the sheriff is going to come out and call you. He said, when the sheriff come out and call you, step into the court. You cannot approach him. You cannot do none of that, but step inside the court door and stand right there so you can hear his case. I said, "Okay." And I'm thinking in my head, this is not real. So when they was bringing him, like I said, the newscasters and everything was in the courtroom. So when they called his case, the sheriff called my name. I was right by the door. He said, "Come on in." So he let me in. And the whole time when they brung him out, first of all, when I seen his face, oh my goodness, he didn't even look like himself. I can tell he really tried his best not to hurt this guy, because oh my goodness. So anyway, he came out and he kept looking at me. He was just, from the whole, when they bring him out from behind the courtroom, they bring him out one at a time when their case is called or whatever. He came out just looking at me, dropped his head, and he looked at me again, and tears just rolling down my face. So he stands up there in front of the judge, and the lawyer is, saying everything for him, and he got his head turned around where he can watch me, and he's just looking at me, and I'm just looking at him with tears just rolling down my face. And then he mouthed, "I'm sorry," like that, and he dropped his head, and the judge said, "So you agree with the plea?" And he looked at his attorney, and his attorney looked at him. His judge said, "Not guilty plea." And he shook his head. He said, "Not guilty," like that. And so the judge and the attorney talked again. The prosecutor said what he had to say the whole time. He's turned around just looking at me. Not his whole body, just his head is turned around looking at me. And then he said again, "I'm sorry," like that. And y'all, it turns me up every time I say it. And I shook my head that I understood. And then he turned back around again. He listened some more. Then he turned his head back around again because I was to the right of him. So he turned around again to the right and mouthed, "I love you," like that. And I just dropped my head. And so they said, okay, we're going to recall the case for such time and all this and stuff. In the meantime, you and your attorney will be talking, and we're going to take a trial and all this and stuff. And I was listening so I could relay the message to his mother. I'm going to be nice. His mother and his people and everything and stuff. And so he smiled at me and winked at me, to try to light me up because I was so, like, going through all type of emotions. And, he still had the handcuffs and stuff on. And then as he was walking real slow, his attorney stopped him and said something. And he pointed with both his hands, because he, like I said, he had his handcuffs on the front. Both his hands, he pointed over at me. And his attorney looked at me and shook his head like that. And he whispered something into his attorney's ear. And I'm still standing there. And the attorney shook his head again like that. And so he turned towards me again. He said, "I'm sorry." Like that. And walked straight through the door. And that was the last time that I actually had laid eyes on him because I didn't go to the trial. He didn't want me to. He's like, "You don't need that heat on you. I don't want them knowing you attached to me in no type of way, just in case it's retaliation." He said, Don't come. Don't come. Just let whatever happens, just let it happen." Just like that. So my issue with that was two things. One, I hate that happened, but sometimes I think that was God's way of getting him away from me. I hate that somebody had to pass away. I'm not saying that was God at all. Two, his mom had a lot of money, and she wouldn't even, the same son she was trying to fight me over at the house that day, she wouldn't even put no money for him to get a good attorney, so he had a public defender. So what should have turned out to be a 6-year sentence with 4 years on the shelf, he get out to behavior, it turned out to be a 19-year sentence. 19. And guess who rode with him the whole time? You got it, me. In some form or fashion, I rode with him all those 19 years. Every last one. Even when his own mother wouldn't take his calls, she wouldn't write him. She wouldn't take his calls. She wouldn't write him. When she would come back to our city, she wouldn't even go see him the whole 19 years. Wouldn't send him a card, wouldn't put money on his books, nothing. It's like he never existed. But I rode with him the whole 19 years. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So that's how we didn't end up getting married, going away, and all this type of stuff is because of what happened less than 2 hours after he made the call to me. All that went down, and I went to sleep, which is something that I never did. I never took naps like that. That lasted the whole night, So, trips me out. But like I told y'all, and I'll be back to tell some more stuff. I'll be back to tell some more stuff, but like I told y'all, even to this day, I'll be 50 this year if the Lord say the same. I'll be 50 years old. He's older than me. He's almost 60 or close to 55 or something like that. He's 55 or he will be come August. He's married yet again. This is his third marriage, okay? And he still say, "I love it, girl." Think about that. He tells our daughter, and our daughter's like, "Daddy, come on." He's like, "I do. I love your mama. That's the love of my life." His wife knows that he's still in love with me. Hence the fact that she hates my guts. His last wife hated my guts also. I understand. I ain't got nothing to do with that because it's not reciprocated, because thank the Lord for deliverance and me having counseling and all this type of stuff that I had to do to make sure I was strong. Because the people that were supposed to protect me failed me. And I'll be back to tell y'all about when my daddy found out what happened and from then on. Because my daddy was an MVP, baby. He, my daddy was an MVP. It's just when he did find out, it was so late in the game that I was in love with him. I was in love with my cousin. And I protected him. So anytime my daddy would say, when's the last time he called you? I'd be like, Daddy, he don't call me, If he does, it's when somebody else is on the phone and won't speak to me, and all this and stuff. I said, but he don't call me. Lying. 9 times out of 10, I had just hung up from him when my daddy clicked in. Or my daddy would say something like, when's the last time he wrote you? My daddy did not play. My daddy is well known. I will say this, he has trained celebrity stars. He's well known as being the head of a particular situation. I don't want to say too much because these people around here crazy. Over 5 states. So my daddy wasn't one to play with. He just he wasn't. And so yeah, I became his protector. Imagine that. Imagine that. During the process of this man messing with me all these years and wanting me to be faithful to him, he still had kids on me. Let's just say we were dating. Come to find out, he had kids. Crazy, huh? So, but I just wanted to, like I said, it actually became an illness. It can get as deep as you allow it. And sometimes what is not normal becomes the norm. Pay attention to your children, especially and nowadays I can't even say that because people are messing with little boys too. But pay attention to your children. If something seems off, investigate, ask questions. Keep asking questions. Snoop around the apartment, snoop around their bedroom. Do whatever you got to do. Because if you feel it by you being a parent and you know your child, that means something that you're feeling is right. Don't let up because the child said, oh no. Because after a while, I became that child. I became that teenager. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. After a while, I became the one. No, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. And they gave him more access to me because I was fine. So nobody had a problem with him spending as much time with me as he wanted. And every time we spent time together where it was just me and him. Matter of fact, I can't even say that because even when my little cousins would come down there, after a while, he would lock them out. Or he would send them to the store so me and him could have some time together. Or we would walk to the store with them and say, we'll be back. We're going to go over here for a minute just so that we could be together. Not basically have sex, but to do what couples do. Kiss, hug, all this and stuff like that. We made time for what we wanted after a while. And I played right into his hands because he knew I had nobody to tell that would believe me. Once you tell your grandmother and your grandmother, tell you it's your fault that she don't believe you because the way that you're built. I didn't ask to have his body, but that was like, wow. Wow. So, okay, this adult don't believe me. And the other adults see it and they turn their head to it. So I don't have no outlet. Any other adult, in my mind, any other adult that I would tell me I was lying as well if my own grandmother don't believe me. And like I said, I found out that part of the tribe that she's from, that they believe in keeping the bloodline as pure as possible. So they marry their own, and all this and stuff is I can't say it's sick because it's a way of life for some cultures. Okay, it just so happened I'm also African American, so that don't fly over here. But in that particular part of my blood, part of my heritage, that is allowed. And what's so funny, my grandmother moved away so that her kids wouldn't have to go through that. And my cousin's mother ended up going through it with her older cousin. They had a relationship. She got pregnant by him. They were going to get married and all this and stuff. So it just, it cycled itself. It became a generational curse. So it stopped with me. I was determined it was going to stop with me. Once you learn about something, and you learn, you can look at your tree, you can look at your family and say, okay, Uncle Bobo had this, Uncle Bobo's son had this. Okay, now I can't have this. Auntie, our grandma did this, and Auntie did this, and even Mama did this. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You have to shake the tree and see what nuts come out, and that's the truth. So I've never been one to shy away from investigation, finding out why things happen the way they are. That's why I went to counseling. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I went to medical school. I wanted to become a doctor to find out why something is the way it is, what causes it to be like that, you know. So, like I said, I know my story is crazy, but it is my story and it is the truth. It happened, you know. So I don't mind putting myself out here if it means somebody else will learn from my story and ask the hard questions to their children. Are your niece, are your nephews, you know. Um, I'm going to say this too, and it's almost an hour, so let me get ready to cut this off. I'm going to say this too. I remember I was able to, as a young child, spend a night over this preacher's house because, yes, yeah, give me a minute. It's all right. I got to hurry up, so I'll just wait for this. So anyway, got to go see one of my older sons. I got two older sons. They're in their 20s, and they call themselves my protector. So I got to go answer to them before I kick them. So anyway, I will come back on probably later and finish up this story because I don't want to forget. But remember, there's always a lesson to be learned, and when we learn the lesson, then we're almost 99.9% positive not to repeat it again. So the lesson for this is always tell the truth until somebody hears you. Always keep telling the truth until somebody hears you. And once you heard, make sure they're listening. And then when they listen, make sure they can help you. All right. Smooches.